Part 3, dynamic colors and drag and drop. In this video, we learn still 2 topics. Dynamic colors. So with JavaScript, CSS, we can do some interesting feature. Changing colors in a dynamic way. And another interesting related to mouse event. Drag and drop. Yeah. All right, so let's look at the example first. Our first example, dynamic colors. All right. Still, I include the examples in the zip file, so you can download and play around because these examples pretty simple. So here I just describe these examples. I do not need to, play in front of you. Yeah. All right. The first example, 2 files. DynColors.html, DynColors.js together. Yeah. First, in the so what do you see for the HTML? The user interface is like this. You have block of text. Then you have 2 input fields with 2 labels. All right. And now the action part. In the first input field, if you enter the name of a color, it will be used to set background color. So you type yellow, the background color becomes yellow. All right. The second input field for the foreground color, you type blue, the name of the color, then the font color will be changed to blue. Yeah. So that's simple. Yeah. The feature description like this. Next, let's look at the coding part. Yeah. The HTML, we have a form, right? Yeah. Action equals nothing because we do not need to call any specific file. Yeah. We just call JavaScript functions associated with this page. Yeah. All right. So let's look at the right. So the dynamic part, right? Because this part is the static. So we do not need to, really, that's just that same block of text display there. So let us focus on the dynamic part. Yeah, these 2 elements. So the label, you see the label, then the input field, first input field. So look at this element. Name, yeah, element name, background name, yeah. Then unchanged, yeah, event is unchanged, right? Yeah. When you make some change, this event is triggered. Unchanged, this function, set color function, is called with 2 parameters. The first parameter, string background, because we need this value. Later, when we set foreground, background colors, we need this value. So you need to tell your JavaScript function which part of color you want to change. So the background color, then this dot value. This, yeah, here you see object this. This refers to the current element, right? Yeah, this element, the current element. This element dot value. Yeah, so this is the value. Yeah, the value. Type it into the field. That's the value. All right. That value is passed to setColor function as the second parameter. All right. That's the first input field. Similarly, the second input field. Yeah, pretty much similar, but you only change the first parameter foreground. So you need to set different part of the element a different color. Yeah. All right. So next, our main JavaScript function, the setColor function, we need to look at its definition. Yeah. All right. The definition, pretty simple. Yeah. setColor, 2 parameters. First one, where, reference of the first parameter. Second parameter, new color. All right, so let's look at how do we change the colors. If statement. If where equals, double quotes, the string background. So that's the reason our first parameter is passed. Match this string value. Then we change the CSS body style dot background color property. Here, we change the property value. What value? New color as the new value for the background color. After that, the background color is changed. Yeah. Else, if not the background case, the remaining foreground. So we change the foreground. This time you change the style dot color property. Color property, that's the foreground property. Foreground property, yeah. So then the value, new color value. That's it. So that's simple. So you will see the result. We describe it here. So that's the first example. The second example, drag and drop. Yeah, pretty interesting, drag and drop. So you play around. Yeah, let me describe the feature and we understand the code part. All right. Example, yeah. These 2 files, drag and drop.html and drag and drop.js. Now, you just double click the HTML file, then you play around. Okay. All right. Then the HTML part. So let me show you the main elements here. Yeah. What do you see like this? Interface like this. Yeah. And you can drag and each word you can drag and drop any way you like to place. Yeah. Pretty simple. Yeah. But how to make that? We want to understand how can you drop a word and put a different location? Yeah. So we'll understand that. Yeah. First, the content part. The words. So yeah. Here, because there are many words, but we typically do the same thing on each word. So we only need to understand one word. Yeah. Here, so let's look at one word. This element is one word. All right? Yeah. After that, we just duplicate the same thing for all the other words. All right? First, we use the span element, inline element, right? Span, all right, yeah. Position, absolute position, yeah. Absolute, yeah. With respect to the closest ancestor, if you don't have the closest ancestor with respect to the body element. Yeah, because there is a situation you couldn't find its closest ancestor element. If you cannot, we use the body. Yeah. All right, so now we use the body as the reference location. Yeah. All right, so then top left initial position, right? Top left initial position. Yeah. Different element, we use different initial position. All right, so there are many. Yeah. All right. Then the color, light gray color. So you can see light gray color, background color. Yeah. All right. Then what function is called on mouse down that event? You press it on mouse down, grabber function event. You need to take the event object. Yeah. Grabber function of event object is called, the word content, candy, and so on. So you can see we do the same thing on all the words. The next thing is we need to understand how to define this grabber function. So that's the main part of this example, the grabber function. Understand the grabber function, JavaScript function. So our next slide, we will understand that. All right. So look at the code. In the JavaScript function, first we define three variables: diff x, difference, x direction, coordinate, direction, diff y, coordinate, the element variable. We need to take it to modify its properties. So we need these three variables. Then, how do we use them? Let's take a look. Now, first line, this line, all right. Because after you put the on mouse down, you get that event. That event dot current target. It will return the element reference of that object. Mouse down dot current target. You click that element. That element is an object, right? Element is treated as an object. That object is returned to this variable, the element. Now, from the variable name, you know what it is. The element reference. All right. With that, so you have the reference of that element. The element dot style dot left. It returns the value of dot style dot left property. So we know, so that's the number of pixels to the left, right? But that value, original value is a string value. Because in HTML document, any value is a string value. So not integer value. String value, you can only display it. You cannot do arithmetic operations. You cannot do arithmetic operations on string values, right? So that's the reason you need to parse, call this function, JavaScript function, parse int, convert it to integer value. Then you can do arithmetic operations. Okay. Otherwise, you may wonder why we do things like this. Because we want to do arithmetic operations. So we need to do conversion. First conversion, second conversion, two numbers. Pos x, position x, pos x, position y, to integer values. So we can do arithmetic operations. Next, diff x, you do arithmetic operation. If you have string values, you cannot do arithmetic operations. So that's the reason. All right. So the second one, arithmetic operations, because you want to change the location based on the mouse cursor. Event the client x coordinate of your mouse cursor point. Then y coordinate event the client y minus POSY. In that way, you make adjustment, new location adjustment. All right. After that, then you call different function. All right. Add event listener. So this is something new. We need to add event listener. So event listener, all right, So you connect an event to a function. That's what you want to do. So here, let me show you the syntax. The syntax is this way. Document.add event listener, three parameters. The first is the event name. event. Second, the function name. Which function you want to call, the function name. Third, use capture, Boolean value. Boolean value has some meaning. Yeah. So we will see the meaning later. All right. Okay. Yeah. Boolean value. So that's the mover event it will be called. So you associate when mouse move event happens, mover function is called. All right. Yeah. Mouse up event happens, dropper function is called dropper function. Yeah. So we can understand. Yeah. And here, use capture Boolean value true, event handler is executed in the capturing phase. So what's the capturing phase? Capture. Okay. False, when you will pass the false, it's the default value, event handler executed in the bubbling phase. Here you can see the name of the phases. Capturing phase, bubbling phase. This related to another concept. Yeah. And also these two lines, stop propagation, prevent default. So the detail of this part related to that event handling model. Yeah. Here, let us skip this part. Later, we will have one example. We can explain the detail of this model. Here, we just use the name of the function to understand. Oh, so stop propagation. So we should not, because something propagation could happen. Yeah, a lot of things happens, but we don't want to do that. So we stop propagation. Yeah. So prevent default. So default, there is something happens, default, but we don't want that. Yeah. So we want our new way. Yeah. All right. The detail we leave to some later example. Here, let us understand these two JavaScript functions. Yeah. The first one, mover function. We pass event object to this function. So we can get information from this object. Yeah. The element.style.left. Yeah, the element. So that's the global variable, right? Global variable. So in this function, we can use the global variable, the element. We change its style dot left property with a new value. All right. So here you can see. Yeah. This is the new value plus px. Okay. The top, another new value. After the change, event.stop propagation. Yeah. So we just do this. We do not do the propagation part. Yeah. The propagation details we will understand. Yeah, we have another video to look at that event handling model. Yeah. So also there we understand capturing phase, bubbling phase, that detail there. Yeah. All right. So now, this is the mover. So when you move, so you change the property. So the word position will be changed, right? Yeah. Dropper. Yeah. You release the mouse, so the word should be placed right there. Yeah. The mover, because the word moves along your mouse cursor, right? So you drag moving along your mouse cursor location. Yeah. Now, finally, you drop it. So drop, passing event object to it. So you, this time, document.remove event listener. Yeah. So you remove, yeah. After you drop, then when you move mouse cursor, that word stays there, right? So that for that reason, you want to disconnect the event and the function. How do you disconnect? Remove event listener. Mouse up, dropper.true. All right. Disconnect another event function connection. Remove event listener, mouse move, mover.true, comma true. All right. So now you understand. So we can use this way. We can drag and drop element. How about that? Okay. All right. So that's our last video of part B, and we complete it. Yeah.